Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Coming on a little bit late tonight, but I have had this thing marinating in my head for a little bit, and I wanted to come on and share with all of you about it. So I titled this Changing Your Life Story. And you might be like, what the hell are you talking about? What are you doing? I don't understand changing my life story. And what I mean by your life story is the story that you are telling yourself and the story that you are telling others about your past, about the future, about what's going on right now. Basically, anything that you're saying to really more importantly yourself, but then you're obviously projecting that out to other people. What is it that you are saying to yourself? What is it that you're telling other people about? And I mean, with certain things like comments like, I could never, or I'm not the type of person, or I always, right? Sentences that start with that, or relationships, oh, well, there's nobody good out there anymore, or all the good ones are taken, or comments like, all these guys or women are just crazy. Everybody I meet is just crazy. They're awkward. They're weird. it's not happening for me. Maybe it's your financial situation, right? Oh, I'm always behind. I'm always stuck. I'm always broke. I can't get ahead, right? These comments, these words that you're saying, your health, your fitness, your wellness. I've always been the type of person that yo-yo diets. I've always been a person that's been overweight. It's always been difficult for me to do this or do that. I can never stay consistent. This runs in my family. That runs in my family, right? Or your career, or your job, or your passion, right? I don't know what to do. There's nothing out there that I could do that'll make me happy. My job makes me miserable. There's no jobs out there. I can't find anything, right? So it's these really little sentences that are holding so much energy and so much power behind them when you're speaking them to yourself and to other people, and you're not even realizing that when you're doing that, you're creating your life. You're creating your belief system. You're creating what it is that's happening around you. And I know that it's easy to say, well, it's true, Crystal. It's true. Every guy that I meet is freaking crazy. My bank account is clearly states that I am broke. My health, I look in the mirror, I'm clearly not healthy. I don't have a job. I can't find a job, or I'm not happy. So how can you tell me that this isn't true? How could you tell me that I can't sit here and say this to myself and say it to other people? And we've got it all wrong, guys. And I learned this so long ago, and it's transformed my life, that what we are thinking and what we are feeling is what creates our reality. It's not the reality that creates how we feel. And once we can switch that, and once we can change that, everything can change in our lives. And so many people are walking around that I'm talking to, or that I hear just even when I'm out and I'm like eavesdropping on conversation. It's like we're just spewing out these things that aren't serving us. We're spewing out these sentences and these beliefs and these things that we are taking as declarations that don't have to be true, right? They don't have to be true. They can be something that we can change. They can be something that we can shift. And because we're saying those things and because we're believing those things, that's what we're seeing. That's what we're getting. And so I want to kind of share with you some ways that you can start becoming more aware, right? Some ways that you can look at what you're thinking, look at what you're saying, and say, okay, is this serving me? Is this a story that I want to tell? Is this something that I want to keep perpetuating in my life? Because if it is something that I want, then hell, go on with it, right? If you're living a good life, you're feeling good, you're healthy, you're making money, you're running a business, you got the love of your life, everything is going well, your job is great, you're getting promotions, go on, keep speaking it. But if you're in a place where you're not happy, and you're in a place where you're constantly beating yourself up, and you're constantly having this conversation with yourself and other people about how things are never working out for you, and how you're tired of struggling, and how you're just tired of being stuck, and all of these things, we got to start shifting that. We got to start taking it back and saying, okay, this needs to change. What can I do? What can I do? Because this ain't working for me. And I think about when we see these people that are in the street that are like yelling and screaming or talking to themselves, and all of us are like, oh, whoa, let's get away from them. Like, oh, this person's crazy. Do you or do you not do that yourself, except you don't do it out loud, right? So you have a conversation with somebody and they pissed you off, and you hang up the phone and you're doing dishes and you're like, oh, this said this and that and blah, blah, blah. And maybe you're doing it out loud because you're by yourself, or maybe you're doing it to yourself, or you get in your car and you're having this conversation with yourself about somebody who pissed you off, or you're just in general always having a conversation, right? There's never really a time, unless you're meditating, when you're really quiet, right? When you're really just, nothing's going on. So what they're doing out loud and out in the open is really no different than what you're doing in private. So one, we shouldn't judge them because, hey, if they're willing to share it, let them share it, right? But we're doing the same thing, right? We're having the same imaginary conversation with ourselves. We're having the same imaginary conversation with people that are around us all the time. So what is it, right? What is it that we can do to say, okay, how can I change this? How can I change this? So first off and foremost, you gotta listen. What is the story? What is the story you've been telling yourself and everyone else around you? Pick a place in your life where things are not really going the way that you want, right? It's usually your relationships, your finances, your health, or your career, right? Those are usually the four kind of major things that people are. Maybe you're dealing with all of them and then you got to do it separately. But what is really not working out in your life right now, and what are your beliefs about it? When you have a conversation with your friends, when you have a conversation with yourself, what are the things that you're saying to yourself? Are they serving you? Are they good? Are they making you feel good? Or are they making you feel really crappy? Are you putting yourself down? Are you putting the situation down? Or maybe you're going so far back in the past of what happened to you, how you got there, who did this to you, all of the things that got you to where you are, and you're blaming, and you have shame, and you have guilt, and you have all these emotions that are around where you are right now. Look at those things, right? Where are those things coming from? Because I got news for you. If it's from the past, if it's from someone who did something to you, if it's from a past situation or a circumstance that happened to you, and you're using that right now as the reason why you can't move forward and you can't do things, you are screwed. But you can fix it, but you are screwed right now. You can fix it. Because you're taking something that has already happened, you're taking a past event, and you're bringing it to where you are right now. And when you do that, you are going to keep yourself there in such a deep hole that you cannot get out of, right? So you have to look at yourself. Why do I feel this way? Do I feel this way because this is what was done to me, right? Do I feel this way because I'm angry at someone that put me in this position, or a circumstance that made this happen to me? We got to take responsibility, guys. Like, once the situation has happened, once someone has done something to us, or once something has happened to us, we can't like keep on to that, right? And be like, oh, it was your fault. It was your fault, and it was the situation's fault, and it shouldn't have happened to me, and I don't get why it doesn't happen to this person, and why does this person get it and I don't get it, right? If you're in that place, you can't open your heart and your mind to new things because you're stuck. You got like all this guck on you from all the stuff from the past. And the more that you focus on that, and the more that you're blaming, and you're not saying, okay, maybe this happened and that's what it is, but like, I'm responsible for myself right now to say, this happened, I'm here, I'm done. What story can I start telling myself now that I'm out of that situation to change it, right? So listening to your story when you're sitting down with your girlfriends, your boyfriends, whoever, right? What are you spitting out of your mouth? Is it negative? Is it things never work out for me? Is it I never have enough? Is it no matter what I do, ... right? There's usually these few sentences that come out of people's, no matter what I do is a big one, right? No matter what I do, I can't ... right? I can't find the one. I can't improve my financial situation. I can't find the right job. I can't, whatever it is. It's usually followed by something like that, right? This belief that this isn't possible or this isn't going to happen. So you've got to find that place. You've got to find that place where you can sit and say, okay, what do I believe? What do I believe about this? What have I been telling myself? Once you have that, and you can really look at those things that you're saying, you got to pick what works for you and what doesn't work for you, what's serving you and what doesn't serve you. So if you're saying those things, you gotta say, okay, what's the opposite of this? What do I prefer instead? Instead of saying, you know what, all the good ones are taken, what's the opposite of that? You know what, there are plenty out there that are looking for a girl or a guy like me, right? When I was in the situation and sort of, I really wasn't looking for Dom, but just in a place where I was open to it, and I was okay, and I was content being where I was, being alone, but having a thought in my head like, someone's out there, someone is out there, and at the right time and at the right place, I think it was in my journal, I gotta find it. It said something like, somewhere out there is a guy that's looking for a girl like me. Right? And it's just, I believe that. I didn't get into how old I was. Oh my God, I'm 29 and I'm single again. What am I going to do? Oh my God, none of that happened. It was just, there is someone out there for me, right? With your financial situation. Okay, maybe things are rough. Maybe you open up your bank account and you're like, shit, things are not looking pretty good, right? And I'm not saying to fake yourself out. What I'm saying is that to be hopeful, to change your story. You know what? It looks like that now, but something could open up for me. And there is something out there. And if it got better for other people, it can get better for me. And this is going to change, right? You don't always have to know the how, right? That everybody gets caught up in this, like, I got to know how. I got to figure it out. I got to learn, how to do this in order to have that. And it's like, nah, get rid of the how, right? Get rid of the how and just feel it. Just feel how it would feel to have the things that you want. And changing the way that you're speaking to other people about having those things, right? Changing the way that you're speaking to yourself about having those things, right? This is possible for me. This is something I could do. This is something that I am capable of. Maybe I wasn't before, but I'm capable now, because I got news for you, your ego, and I'm not talking about the ego that's like, oh yeah, I'm a big strong guy, a big strong girl. I'm talking about your ego that is like this like little, like a little buzzing sound around you. That's not even you, right? It's all of the garbage and beliefs and the things that you hear on the news, and it's the things that someone told you, and it's what you heard from this one, and what you read, and it's all the things that you've seen and heard and you've taken as truth for yourself, right? So someone might say to you, oh, there aren't any jobs for what you are doing. There's no jobs out there. No. Okay, so for that one person who believed what someone else said, who believed what someone else said, who believed what they spread it like a virus, this belief, and it comes to you, and your ego's like, see, there you go. You don't have a chance. Told you you don't have a chance. And when you are disconnected from God and yourself and source and whatever you want to call it, and ego is running your life, and ego is running your thoughts, and ego is running all of the things that are happening around you and in your mind, you gotta step out of it, right? You gotta be like, okay, like, that's great. It's like a friend. It's like a really negative friend that you've just got to be like, yeah, okay, good idea, and you just kind of walk away, right? That's got to start to be who you're listening to in your head, and your is it true? Is it true, or is it something that I'm just choosing to believe as true? Right? So that thought comes in, you're not good enough, you're not enough, this will never happen for you, there's not enough guys out there, there's not enough this out there, you're always broke, you're never going to move forward, nothing's ever going to change, you're too old, you're too young, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too that, all of these things, right? You got to be aware of that. And I'm going to get to that, but you've got to know that that's not you. Right? That's everybody else's stuff, right? That's what everyone else has told you. I always, when people tell me their opinion, or people tell me what they think about something, I take it at sort of like, okay, like that's what they've seen. Doesn't mean it's got to be what I've seen, right? So I listen and I say, okay, I value your opinion. I value what you're saying. I'm listening to what you're saying and what you're doing and what you're thinking, right? But I'm not going to accept that as truth for me until I do the research. I'm not going to accept that as truth for me until I see it for myself, right? So listening to what this ego is saying, what this mind is saying to you. Then saying to yourself, okay, I know what you're saying, and I don't like it. What can I change? What do I need to say to myself that's different? What is the complete opposite of what I've been telling myself? What is the complete opposite of what I've been telling everybody else, right? Everybody loves to complain. You'll never meet anybody who you go to and you're like, all right, tell me everything that's going wrong in your life. And they'll be like, no, everything is good, right? Very rarely will you meet someone. I know a few people like that, and I surround myself with those people for that reason, but most people would love a chance to sit down and tell you everything that's wrong in their life, right? Everything that's going wrong, everything that never happens for them, everything that is just oh, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of life. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of that. And it's just, they love that, right? They love the drama. They love to feed on that because it keeps them in a victim mode. And if you're in victim mode, you don't have to take responsibility for the decisions that you make in your life. You don't have to take responsibility for what's not going on in your life. It's so much easier to give the burden to everybody else and the situations that have happened to you when you're like in this complaining mode. So don't be a complainer, right? Don't be that person that looks for any chance to talk about things that are not going right, right? Use it as an opportunity to say, okay, I'm hearing that. I'm hearing that that's something that's not serving me. I'm hearing that this is something that doesn't feel good. I'm hearing that this is something that I don't want to repeat and I don't want to put, it's a declaration, right? It's a declaration. If you are, like sometimes I talk to females and they're like, oh, Crystal, like you're so lucky. You're so lucky you found the one because you don't even know. You don't even know what's out there. This is what's out there and that's what's out there. And it's like, no, it's not what's out there. That's what you're finding because that's what you believe. You believe that that's what's out there, so that's what you're finding. That's what you're seeing. But what if you step back and you're like, you know what? Yeah, there are some people out there that are a little weird and I don't connect with, but I know that there is someone out there that's for me. And I know that I haven't aligned with them yet because I keep saying to myself that there aren't good ones out there. And I keep saying to myself that other people are so much luckier than me and I'm jealous of them because they have that, right? That's another thing. You can't be jealous of what other people have and receive that. Right? Because if you want, we're all one. So if you see somebody that has something that you want, right? I'm not saying that people are jealous. I'm just saying like if there's that resentment, like, oh, why did this person find it or get it or have it and I don't? There's going to be a block there. There's going to be that resistance there, right? And I see comments, but I'm going to read it after, right? Because then I get caught up, and you guys know me. I'm just like, woo, okay, in a whole nother world. That's my Pisces nature, by the way. So I'm not going to do that. So you have this awareness, right? And you have that awareness and you start to pay attention. And now that you have that awareness, and it doesn't happen overnight, guys. I can tell you right now, it did not happen overnight for me, but the more that I did it was like a muscle, right? It was like just this muscle that I kept working where I had a thought and I was like, does it serve me? Does it not serve me? Right? That needs to be your question. Does this serve me or does it not serve me? To yourself, to other people. Okay, it doesn't serve me. Okay, it doesn't serve me. What would serve me? What would I have to believe in order to feel better about this situation? What would I want to attract instead? What would I prefer instead? I would prefer this. Okay, you change it over to that, and then you continue that, right, with whatever thoughts and things that you have. And it goes way beyond just positive thinking, right? People are like, you know, those people that walk around, they're like, I have everything, and everything is great, and everything is wonderful, and it's like their life is like crap. And it's like, why? Because they don't believe it. They're saying it. They're speaking it. This is going to happen for me. This is what's going to do for me. This is this, and I have this, and I have that, and I do. But inside, they're struggling. Inside, there's beliefs and there's subconscious beliefs that they have that are not allowing those things to happen, right? It's just words. Words are not enough. Like everybody says, like, oh, words of affirmation. Like you could sit there all day and be like, I'm rich, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm vibrant. But if you don't feel that, if those other 99% of your life and your day is not dedicated to feeling that way and working on beliefs to feel that way, and Tony Robbins calls it incantations, right? With feeling, like actually feeling those affirmations, and you're wasting your time. Your affirmations aren't going to do crap for you if you're not feeling the alignment with what you're saying, right? So you have to find that space. You have to find that awareness consistently every single day, watching what you're saying. You know, some people probably get annoyed with me, but like we'll be having a conversation and even the most positive people, they'll sort of they'll say something, and I'm like, whoa, wait, backtrack. Let's change that. Let's fix that. Let's make it more positive. And they're like, oh God, Crystal, I freaking hate hanging out with this girl, right? They love it, but they hate it because I'm going to catch it. I'm going to catch what you say because I'm so used to catching it in myself, right? So you're going to get to that point. I promise you're going to get to that point where you're more aware of that and you're able to change that. And then you're able to focus now. You're able to start changing your story from a point of intent and a point of intention where you're saying, I am going out into my life today and I am going to say better things to myself, and I am going to believe better things to myself, and I am going to speak to other people with better things for myself. And when people speak to me, I am going to give my best to them, and I am going to be positive, and I am going to be a light, and I am going to shine for them, and I am going to shine for myself. And you start living with that intention with your story, and you start going to sleep at night, and you're saying, you know what, things are working out for me. Everything is working out for me. I don't know how it's going to be fixed. I don't know how it's going to change, but it's going to happen. And I know that that person is out there. And I know that my bank account, my financial situation is going to get better. And I know that my health can get better. And I'm going to stop declaring I ams followed by negative words, right? I'm not enough. I am too this, or I'm too little that, or I just can't, or I've always been, right? All of these little sentences that everyone speaks, you're going to start changing that every night. You're going to start focusing that on more of what you prefer and more of what you want. And then you're going to take this magical thing called action, right? Because like everybody's always stuck in like, oh, just thinking about it, woohoo, like, oh, I changed my story, like, woohoo, let's just wait till everything happens. Like, no, you've got to start to go out there now, right? You want to improve your financial situation, let inspiration come to you, but also go out there and figure it out, figure out how you can make more money, right? A lot of people are stuck at their job and they're not happy and they're not making enough and they're just telling themselves that there's no other jobs out there, or this, I could not do better than this, or nobody's going to pay me more than what I get paid here because I've been here X amount of years and I've worked my way up to this. Like, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. You can go to something and get something better. Okay, you can get something better. Maybe you're in your relationship and you're unhappy and you're miserable and you're feeling all these things, and so you're thinking, oh, this person, he never does this and she never does that and she's this and that and I'm angry and I'm this and that. It's like, what if you started thinking about all the reasons why you fell in love with that person? What if you started thinking about when you guys first met? What if you started focusing on the things that you like about that person and changed the way that you act towards that person? Then maybe that person will start to act a little differently towards you, and maybe things will improve, right? Taking those actions with your health, with your wellness. Okay, instead of walking around saying, I've always been a yo-yo dieter, I've always been somebody who struggles with my weight, I've always been someone that can't stay consistent, I can just never stay consistent, I do this for this time, instead of saying that, saying, you know what, I'm done doing that. That's how I used to be, but I'm going to change that. I'm going to be like this from now on. And then taking that action to do that, right? And there are steps in between there, and there are sort of things you have to go through there, and that can happen over time. And I always try to share with you guys stuff to do that. And I hope to be making more videos. If you guys like these videos, you got to give me thumbs up or love or comment below. Let me know that I should still be coming on. I mean, I'll still come on anyway, but I want to make this a practice. I really want to come on, because if we shift and we start shifting the way we're all thinking, right? We can walk into a job, or we can walk into an event, or we can walk into life with a better mindsets and more consciousness. And if we're all in a place of surrendering, and we're all in a place of feeling good from the heart, and we're not living from ego, then the world will get better, because there's a lot of crap going on, obviously. And we can change that. We can change that with a lot of things, but I won't get into it, right? So you got that. So you've got your focus, you've got your awareness, you're listening to your story. So your homework tonight, okay, if you listen to this or whenever you listen to this, is to go into your mind and be like, okay, what have I been sharing? What have I been telling people? What have I been telling myself? That's it. Whatever situation it is that you have, that you're dealing with, that's not going the way you want, what are the beliefs that you have about it? What have you been telling yourself about this, whatever it is, right? Like I said, it's usually relationships, your finances, your health, and your career or business or whatever it is. Those are your main focus points that people want to focus on. So look at that. Look at what it is that needs work, and change that story daily, and start to become more aware, and start to hear those things that you're saying to yourself. Sylvia, hello. Fania, Teresa, Leah, Tracy, hello everybody. Mark, the event might be unavoidable, but you can control your response. It's your response that determines your outcome, so react wisely. Mark is a clear example. I don't know if you're still on. Are you still on, Mark? My amazing patient and friend who is defying what it means to be sick and have an autoimmune progressive disease. Okay, he is working on himself, he is working on his mindset, he is working on his diet, he is inspiring other people daily. Okay, this guy is amazing. Yes, you are on. I don't know why it didn't come on here, but it came on my video here. But if you guys think I'm positive, like, spend 5 minutes with this guy, because it's ridiculous. I think you beat me, Mark. But he's shifted, right? He's shifted the way that he thinks. He's shifted the way that he talks. I mean, he was always like that, but now it's like on a whole nother level. And when he walks in, it's just like, yes, I can have a conversation with someone who gets it. Yes, right? And that's what he does. You know, that's what you do, Mark. He's gone through situations that most people, that if they were going through them, would probably crumble and fall. And he hasn't. He stays strong. He looks at every circumstance and every situation in such a positive light. And he brings such a good point. You know, your response to things is everything. There's reacting and then there's responding. And I've kind of thought about like doing a video just on that. So I will save that, because that's probably another 20 minutes. But it is your response, right? You have a choice in every moment to react a certain way. You know, when I was growing up, anything that happened, like whatever, like the littlest thing, my mom was like crazy. She's like, oh my God, this is so bad. I'm like, whoa, like let's take a minute, let's calm down, let's assess the situation before we have a reaction, right? There's people like that are just like instant, like there's no thought, there's no process, it's just reaction, right? Or someone pisses you off, or someone cuts you off, or someone, you know, angers you, and it's just reaction. It's just an automatic reaction. But if you step back and you have a response, you assess it. How do I want this to go instead? How do I want to feel instead? Wait, let me look at the situation first and then see how it goes. And that goes for everything. That goes for the negative in your life. That goes for every situation, right? Two things can happen. The same thing can happen to two different people, and the outcomes are completely different. And everyone's like, well, they're just lucky. Well, things just always work out for them. Well, they have this. Like, no, it was how they reacted. It was their mindset, right? Anytime that there's a negative situation or something happens, you have a choice to say, okay, this is how I'm going to think, this is how I'm going to feel about it, this is how I'm going to act towards it, or I'm just not even going to take the time to do that, and I'm just going to have a reaction and then create this momentum of negativity, right? Hey, Judith. So, Pauline, who else we got here? Going to accept that as truth for me. Keyword shift. Love your notion of choose and will serve you. Thank you, guys. Thanks for all the love. I'm glowing. Oh, thank you. I try. Coconut oil, baby. Coconut oil. No, I'm just kidding. Power of intention. Oh, no, I lost it. I lost all the comments. There we go. So young and you get it. Power. Oh, thank you, Anita. You always say such nice things. So young and yet you're so, I so get it. And I'll tell you this, I feel like, because I've always attracted sort of older people into my life, and like friends with like people that were older than me. I always hung out, even as a kid, I always hung out with older people. And I don't know if it's like that old soul thing or what it is, but I feel like we all have this knowing inside of us. And if we just listen, it'll speak to us. And so like what you hear from me and the things that I've learned, and I mean, if you saw me or knew me 10 years ago, I wouldn't say I'm a different person. I became who I really am. I woke up again to who I really am, right? I had a bunch of garbage on me. I had a bunch of stories. I had a bunch of ego mindsets and lack, and I'm not enough, and I'm not good enough, and I came from this, so I'm not that. And, you know, I grew up in a very stressful household with very stressful situation, and that was my story, right? Like I walked around like this happened to me, like this is what happened, and I didn't get a childhood, and I had to be the parent, and I had to this, like that. Now I hear that stuff and I'm like, shut up, like whatever. That was then, this is now, you're here. It's going back to what I told you about earlier. You know, you're going to keep dragging the past, or you're going to keep taking these things with you of who you were before to who you are right now, because if you keep doing that, you're going to stay in the past. You're going to stay where you were. You know, I am not who I was back then, right? And I don't want to be, right? I learned my lessons, and that's it. And that's what I want all of us to do. Like, stop beating yourself up, stop having shame, stop having guilt, stop having resentment towards people, right? I want to do like a whole video on forgiveness, because so many people are walking around angry at everybody. You know, who did this to me 20 years ago, and who did this to me 10 years ago, and you know what this part, like, who gives a shit? Like, let it go. Like, either you forgive and you move forward and you mend it and you move forward together, or you just say, okay, like, we didn't serve each other, things didn't work out, you know, family, friends, whatever it is, and you go your way and I send you love and I go my way, and that's it, right? Maybe you tried and you tried and you tried and you tried to fix things, and people just weren't receptive to it. You move on. You say, okay, like, it's not going to work, right? It's just not going to work. So that's it. So, oh my God, I got hot in here. I can't put my AC on because then you guys can barely hear me. So any questions, any thoughts, anything that is, I know some people like watch this after, you know, so I know people comment after, but really, if there's anything, questions or anything that you guys are thinking about what I shared and about what I'm trying to, what I'm in the process of, see, things like that, trying is an attempt at something that you think may not happen, okay? I am in the process of trying. No, that's dope. See, this is what I do all day. I'm like, nope, we gotta fix that. I am in the process of helping to change your mindset, okay? Whoever you are, whoever you're watching, individual, who you're stuck, I hope that this served you. I hope that this helped you. I hope that this made you sort of think about what things you can change, and that's it, that you go into your day, your sleep tonight, your morning tomorrow, and you have a different conversation with yourself. And there's multi-levels to all this. There's so much to it. And I hope over the next few weeks to kind of get everybody there and get to a place where you guys can feel like you have a little more control of your ego and a little more control of what you're thinking, right? There's some topics that I asked people to share with me, you know, what they want to see more of, and I have my list, and so I'm going down it and just doing what inspires me when I come on and what I feel, and I hope that it serves you guys. So if you like this, share it, let it go. The more people it touches, the better. The more we can all work on ourselves, and if there's any time that we need clarity, if there's any more time that we need to feel good and raise the vibration of our planet, it is now. So do it. So Judith, I didn't get to, how do I shift a feeling a certain way? I was worried about a situation, don't want to give it energy, and I'm certain of how to shift it quickly. Okay, so here's the thing, Judith, right? I think that especially those of us that and those of you that know about law of attraction or know about mindset shifts and things like that, is that a lot of times we can get really scared to look at a situation and to get, like you said, like give energy to it. Hold on, I'll go to Judith first and then Karen. So I think when you're going to this energy, you know, you're scared. You're scared to give this energy because you're like, oh man, you know, I don't want to give energy to this negative situation. But you do have to look at it, right? You do have to be realistic and say, okay, what am I worried about in this situation? What is it that's going on in this situation that's making me feel this way? Why do I feel this way? I just want to make sure I was worried about a situation. Don't want to give it energy. Okay, how to shift that feeling. So you can assess it, right? Assess whatever the situation is. And always what you do is you shift to what you would prefer, right? How would you want it to be instead? What are the feelings you would prefer to feel? What are the things that this situation, if it worked itself out, how would you feel if it worked itself out? What are the things that would change if that situation was better? And then you it's so hard to do sometimes, but you let it go, right? You say, okay, if this situation happens the way, however it unfolds, I trust that however it unfolds, it's going to be okay, because I'm going to stay focused on how I want to feel if it unfolds the way that I want it to, right? We always want to shift from what do we prefer? How do we want it to end instead, right? And maybe you want it to go away, right? Maybe you're just like, oh, I just don't want to deal with this situation. I don't want to know anything about it. Like, just go away, go away. I don't want to deal with it. And that's okay if you do that from a place of detachment. If you do that from a place of, I'm going to let it go away and trust that it'll go away. and I'm going to be okay, and the situation is going to work itself out. Because it's that response, right? It's that response to it. This is happening. I can believe this as something that's true. I can believe this is something that's going on, but it's all about perspective. It's all about how you're seeing the situation. It's all about, okay, here's the situation in front of me. I'm going to look at the situation and I'm going to say to myself, okay, this is what's happening visually, mentally, emotionally, whatever it is, right? This is happening. You can't deny reality that it's happening. But how do I want to react to it? How do I want to feel about it? What actions, right? There might be some actions that you can take to fix it. There might be some things that you can actively do. Like, always go to the things that you do have control of, right? There's some things that you don't have control of, and then there's things that you do have control of, right? And the stuff that, what happens is people are so focused on the stuff they don't have control of. Like, the situation's happening and there's nothing they can do about it, and they harp on the stuff that they can't do anything about it. So they just worry about the situation. It's like, it's not going to change anything. It's not going to fix anything. But if you shift to, okay, what are the little things that I can do to make this better? And if you can't do anything in the physical reality, you do it in here. You do it in your heart. You do it in your mind. You do it in your meditation. You sit with yourself. Everything is well. Everything's going to work out. I trust that it's working out for the best of everybody. For the best of everybody, right? You don't always want to be like, the best of me. I want this to work out for me. I want this to work out for everyone, because there is a possibility for it to work out for everyone. So I hope that helps a little bit. Karen, you said there are 4 main categories that people typically want to work on. How do you figure out which one to do first? The easiest one, the one that causes the most frustration? Okay, good question. So I would say it's the thing that you worry about most, right? The thing that's on your mind the most, because there's always going to be something from each category, but there's usually, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, there's usually one specific thing that doesn't stop. It's like that thing that when you are trying to be quiet, always is in your mind. It's that thing that always comes up when you're having a conversation with your friend, you feel like you need to talk about. It's that thing that there's usually one out of those 4 categories that is consuming all of the others, right? I can usually get on a call with somebody and they're going to be like, okay, this is where I'm struggling. This is where I'm having a problem. This is what's going on. And then as we talk, then the other layers start to come out. But whatever comes to you first, right? Whatever is your first thing of your worry, whatever is the first thing of the story that you've been telling, that's really your main thing. That's what you're going to really want to focus on, because that is, once you I don't want to say fix that, but once you are able to change how you react to that and how you're speaking about that, then you can start to shift to the other situations. And because they're a little bit smaller and weren't so much on your mind, and you know how to do it now, then those things are going to be easier, right? So whatever it is that right now, if I said to you right now, Karen, what's bothering you the most about your life? Boom. Whatever your answer is, without even thinking, right? You shouldn't even have to be like, oh, let me think, my relationships, my this. Like, no. There should be an answer right away. Right away, there should be an answer. You're welcome, Judith. Yep, got it. Thanks. All right, perfect, Karen. Perfect. Oh, Mama Louisa's here. My mother-in-law. I can say it. Well, one more month I can say it officially, but she's always been my mother-in-law. So, so that's it. Any more questions? Any more thoughts? Any more anything? And like I said, eventually people will watch this long term and whatnot. So, what can go right, Mark? What can just as easily go wrong? Train your brain to think the best case scenario instead of the most people assuming the worst case scenario. Ah, Mark, we could sit here and talk all day. It's true, right? We're just trained to be negative. We're trained for complaining. We're trained for gossip. We're trained for drama. We're trained for like, there's little parts of us that like the drama, like an argument, that like the gossip, right? You hear that there's like something going on in the office, or like did you hear what happened with so and so? Like, don't feed into that shit. Right? Like, listen, like if people want to genuinely share with you, like, this is what's going on, like this person's really upsetting me, but don't just listen, right? Don't just be like, oh yeah, oh my God, like, and what she say and what he say, like, then just be like, okay, so what are you going to do about it? You know, how are you going to fix it? How are you going to change it? Like, that's always my answer, right? If I hear if friends come to me or people come to me or things like, or sometimes I really have to hold my tongue. Like I said, I'm such an eavesdropper when I'm at the restaurants because it's just so hard to listen to other conversations and not intertwine. But it's like, I just want to look over and be like, what's the solution? Like, you're talking about the problem, you're talking about what's going on, you're talking about, you know, everything that's going wrong and could go wrong and might happen and future things, but like, what if it went right? What if everything went great? Like, what's the solution? Where can you go? Like, you know, Dom and I have a conversation or an argument or a fight, right? It happens, right? You're cohabitating, you want to kill each other sometimes, and like, sometimes we got to stop, right? And you'd be like, okay, we clearly are having a discussion that's not going anywhere. We're clearly having a problem that's not going anywhere. What is the solution? How can we get out of this, right? You want to look for the how do we get out of this? What's the best case scenario for this to get better, right? Always in that mindset of hey, Brandon, showing some love, sister. You know it. You know it. Aww. All right, Mariana. So, yeah. So, doing that, all right? Always looking for the positive, always looking for the better story, always looking for a solution, always looking to change what would I prefer. What do I want instead? Stop getting stuck in the negativity, stop getting stuck in the gossip, stop getting stuck in the drama, stop getting stuck in the anger and the resentment and the past and all this freaking garbage that everybody's walking around, because all these like quick people, the road rage and the people that are quick to get angry and the people that are quick to do, you know, just like bring like the worst to their situations, they're dealing with so much stuff, you know, shit that we don't know about, you know, so you send them love too, right? And you're like, all right, I don't know what this person is going through, but we're all walking around like that too, right? And I'm not perfect, and I'm not completely aligned and always great and everything is wonderful and sunshine and rainbows. I mean, 95% of the time I am. And that 5% that I'm out of it, that 5% of the time where I'm not connected, where I'm not happy or focused on the solution or anything, I'm aware of it. I may not be able to get out of it as quickly as I would like to, but I'm aware of it. I'm like, okay, not feeling so hot, not feeling centered, not feeling good, looking for problems, looking for arguments, looking for fights, having resentment, feeling a little anger, right? And certain people will trigger that, right? There are people in our lives that trigger it. Sam, you is the best. Thanks, Sam. No, you are the best because you hang out with my mom. That's all I'm going to say. So that's it. All right. So I'm going to go. It is 10:30 and I rambled on. Oh my God. I don't even want to know how long this video is, but I think it was good and it served everyone. So I hope everyone has a great night. Okay. And I will talk to all of you soon. Much love. Be well, everyone.